Hey guys, Lewis here from thelanguagescientist.com, and in today's video I want to answer the question of, is it possible to learn French on your own? And I'm going to answer this question from the perspective of, I am a native French speaker, and so I have learned multiple languages to pretty decent levels, like, English and Japanese. But also, because I'm a native French speaker, I've seen actually a lot of non-French speakers trying to learn French, and, most of them failed actually, just like with any language. But a lot of them failed, and a few of them succeeded. And as someone who is, maybe you're at home, you don't necessarily want to take, French classes, is this something that's realistic? Can you actually do it? Can you actually learn French on your own without a teacher, and if possible, without spending too much money or, any money at all? So first of all, I want to tell you a little bit more about my sort of history, or my experience with non-native French speakers. So I used to, when I was studying in college, I knew a bunch of people who were not native French speakers. A lot of them were, English speakers or Spanish speakers, Portuguese, Russian, a bunch of languages. And what I noticed was that they came to this particular college in order to study not French, like very often it was science related, and they didn't need the French language because the classes were in English for the most part, or 100% for most of them. And so they didn't actually need to learn French, but they were surrounded by French-speaking people in this environment, and so there was sort of an incentive. They actually wanted to learn French and maybe, sort of show off when they, went back to their respective countries. But my point is that most of these people, even by being 100% immersed in a French environment, apart from the college classes, most of them failed to learn any sort of any good measure of the French language. The only people who actually succeeded were actually people who actually learned French on their own. And so the way they did this, and back when I was in college, I didn't really understand how this worked, but there were 2 or 3 guys that were basically just using audio tapes, or not tapes, but like MP3 files. They had, audio programs that they were just listening to learn French. And I don't know exactly what the program was. I should probably ask them. But this is essentially how they did it. And I have, my own experience with language learning tells me that if you want to learn languages on your own, just using audio programs is actually a very good option. For example, when I started learning Italian, I had completely unrealistic goals. I tried learning Italian in 3 months because, I thought it was possible using the Asimil method. And what I was doing was actually, I was doing very little reading with the PDF, and I had the MP3 files, which I was, playing when I was at the gym or just working out, doing my own stuff. And that's how I learned Italian. And it may sound surprising, but just by being immersed in that audio world for multiple minutes, or even up to an hour every single day, I managed to learn Italian pretty quickly. In 6, maybe 8 to 10 months, I was actually having conversations with normal, Italian speaking people. And so it's the same thing in French. I actually saw there was a British guy where I lived when I was in college. He didn't know a word of French when bonjour and all of these kinds of things, but he couldn't speak French. And after about just a year of doing that audio program, not very seriously, I think, he was able to have conversations with French speakers. And he was not like super good or anything, but he was having, very impressive conversations with French speakers. So what I would recommend that you do is, instead of trying to just listen to, I don't know, like French news and stuff like that, just being immersed in the French language, you need to take some sort of, structured program. And audio is a very good way to do this. I'm going to recommend Pimsleur French. Pimsleur French is an audio program. You can click the link in the description below. There's you're going to get a free trial for Pimsleur if you want to try it out. Or I also have a video on my channel. You can just look for Pimsleur French review. But this is a very good program where you can actually learn French, all of the basics that you need to know to reach about a B1 level in 5 months. And probably you're not going to be like native level. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be native level as a matter of fact, that's for sure, but you can reach a very good conversational level in just 5 months using this structured program, and it's only going to take 30 minutes a day. So that's how you get started. Now, some people actually have higher aspirations. Maybe they want to work in France or in any kind of French-speaking country, and they want to become they want to have a high level in French. And I have certainly seen people with pretty high levels in French. And the way they do this is either, number one, they spend a lot of time, in France and studying French and doing that kind of stuff. But the problem is that, for a lot of people, this is not necessarily a realistic thing to aspire to. It's either too expensive or just, maybe you have kids and stuff. You can't just move to France from one day to the next. So, it's just not realistic. And so the second way, like the second group of people who are extremely fluent in French and in any language for that matter, is that they actually they have mastered the way of language learning. They know which methods are actually very efficient, which methods bring the most return on investment, specifically on vocabulary learning. So I'm going to show you a specific example, but I'm going to go on my computer here, and I'm learning Japanese. I'm not learning French because I'm a French speaker, so this would be stupid, but here I'm learning Japanese, and this is an example of a very effective method or very efficient method, high return on investment type of thing that can help you to learn French very, very quickly. So I'm using an app here called Anki, which in Japanese means memorize, and I have a bunch of flashcards. As you can see, I have a bunch of decks which contain flashcards. I'm going to go into Netflix a deck, and I'm going to click on study now. And here what I see is a sentence in English coming from a TV show that I watched on Netflix, a Japanese TV show. And I'm trying to remember the sentence, and specifically I'm trying to remember this expression here, how much, which is in that particular scene a special version of how much was used. So here I read the sentence. It's a game that tests how much you can trust others, and I try to think in my mind, okay, how do I say this in Japanese? いかに相手を信頼できるかのゲームです。I press show answer. There you go. I knew it. It was easy. So I'm going to click on easy. And, again, here I'm showing you the Japanese version, but you could do the same with French. And this is how you learn French on your own very quickly, because this is, high return on investment. This is very, very effective. I'm going to show you a second flashcard. Now the game is starting for real. さて、これからはゲームの本番ですね. Something like that. So it may not be exactly the same. Let me show you. ここからがゲームの本番だね. Alright, so here the word I was really looking for was starting for real, which was 本番. So I know this flashcard pretty well. I didn't say the exact sentence, but the word I was trying to memorize, I said it well. So I'm going to click on easy. There you go. So this was just an example here to show you that you can learn languages on your own. You can learn French on your own. This is a realistic goal, and you shouldn't be worried to whether or not this actually works. So there you go. That's all I wanted to talk about for this video. You can find more of my content at thelanguagescientist.com, and I'll see you next time.